Google is by far the most dramatic stock in the stock market. There's always some kind of drama, some kind of reason, some kind of story on why Google isn't trading at the valuation that it should be trading at, just like other big seven. But this one has the most drama, the most stuff going on. And there's always something else. The first one was whenever ChatGPT came out, people say Google was dead and Google crashed so much. Then whenever the DOJ lawsuit was announced, and now it's happening again, it's down over 9% from its latest high. After we have some update from the DOJ, I'm going to do my best to analyze the effects on Google's fundamentals here in the video and do an update on it, give you my fair value on it, and let you know if I believe Google right now is presenting an amazing buying opportunity, or maybe it's still overpriced, maybe there's a lot of uncertainties, and maybe it's better to just wait and see what happens with this lawsuit before considering buying Google. I'm going to talk about all that stuff in the video, and I really hope you enjoy it. But for the latest updates, the Department of Justice, they're calling for Google to divest Google Chrome browser. And that was a very interesting one for me, but I'm going to comment on it in a little bit. And I also want to prevent Google from getting into agreements with third parties like Apple and Samsung. I don't know much about the deals with Samsung, but if you don't know already, Google does have a contract to pay Apple $20 billion in 2022. So they pay them $20 billion a year for Google search to be the dominant or to be the default search engine on a Safari browser. They pay them $20 billion per year. And if this lawsuit and everything does happen, they're going to split out Google Chrome. Maybe it's going to be a different kind of company on its own. We could get shares from it if you're a Google shareholder. Or maybe they will also prevent them from paying $20 billion a year. So Google will be saving $20 billion per year. But this is how I think about this lawsuit and all that stuff. I'm going to get started with Google Chrome. Google Chrome has a 66.6% market share globally. And if you look at Google Chrome's trend, it has absolutely crushed Internet Explorer. It has crushed Firefox, it has crushed Safari, it has crushed Microsoft Edge, which is used mostly in a lot of computers by Microsoft. It has crushed all these browsers. And Google wasn't able to achieve it by paying all of them a fee for them to put in Google Chrome as a default browser. They didn't do that. A lot of people, like, for example, in my computer, in my Microsoft, which is computer, or HP, I have a Microsoft kind of system. And my dominant or my default browser was Microsoft Edge. But Microsoft Edge is too slow for me. I don't like it. I just don't like using it. So I downloaded Chrome and I'm using Chrome. But I didn't use Chrome because Google is forcing me to use Chrome. I use Chrome because I just chose to use Chrome. It's just a better product. That's why it has a 67% market share. 67% of people, they chose Chrome, not because Google is forcing them, because it's just a better product in general, which is very important to know. If we look at Google search, it has over an 89% market share. 89% market share. And if this lawsuit does happen, Google will no longer be able to put in their own search engine as a default search engine on Google Chrome, and Google will no longer be able to pay Apple and Samsung to put in Google search as a dominant search engine on their own kind of browsers. So I believe what's going to happen is if you have Apple, if you have Samsung, they're going to let you choose which kind of search engine would you like to have as your default search engine. And something that's very funny to me is whenever people go on Bing, the first keyword they search, the first one they search on Bing is Google. And Bing is supposed to be the one that's going to kill Google, and they have a 4% market share, But whenever people go on Bing, by mistake, they just went on there, the first keyword they type in is Google. This is insane. The second keyword they type in is YouTube. It's the second most popular one. And Google and YouTube, they're both owned by Alphabet. So it's pretty funny. And it's very clear to me that no one really wants to use Bing. I mean, people love Google. They want to use Google. So if they had to choose between Bing and Google and Yahoo and all those kind of different search engines, I believe most of them will use Google. So Google, yes, might lose a little bit on revenues because some people might just decide to stick with Bing. Although I highly doubt it, people will most likely be choosing Google. So they might lose some revenue, but their gross profit are going to massively increase. Why? Because they'll no longer be able to pay $20 billion for Apple and whatever they pay for Samsung. By using the $20 billion alone, if you take it out of the cost of revenues, their gross profit margins would go up from 56% to 61%. So it's not as bad as a lot of people are making it to be. It could be bad, of course, because a lot of the revenues does come from search engine, pretty close to 200 billion a year. And it's gonna make it more profitable. And yes, revenues might decline, but this is gonna be it. Like, I don't believe it's gonna be as bad as people are expecting. It's, in my opinion, a short-term kind of challenge that's going to be fixed in the long term when you have YouTube that's growing and you have a lot of the Google Cloud that's becoming profitable. You have so many different things to offset that stuff. So I don't believe this lawsuit is going to kill Google. It's going to kill their search engine, because most people are still going to choose Google. It's very hard to just start using something new, and you could clearly see it from people on Bing. The first keywords they search is Google, over I think that's 40 million. So it's absolutely insane. It's pretty funny. But there's a lot of things and a lot of different pieces of the businesses of Google that are being overshadowed by the Google search engine and what's happening right now with this lawsuit. And the first one is YouTube. YouTube is extremely, extremely powerful. And this is something that not a lot of people are talking about, because a lot of different kind of countries, they're trying to regulate social media access for a lot of the kids and stuff. And this is what happened in Australia. Australia is a huge country, continent even, and they have a lot of people. And what they did is they pretty much banned TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and all that stuff for kids. They banned them for kids. But they did not ban Google, because the ban does exclude YouTube and Google, which is widely used in schools and has already rolled out safeguards for children. So that's the difference between YouTube and other platforms. A lot of other platforms are for entertainment. YouTube is mostly for educational stuff and is being used in schools, and Google is already having some kind of safeguards for children. So this is something that not a lot of people are talking about, and it's really giving Google a competitive advantage in such areas over many different kind of social media platforms and other kind of platforms. The second one that you have is Google Cloud. Google Cloud's growth has been picking up. Now it has recently outgrew Microsoft Cloud in terms of revenue growth, and it's increasing. It's over 35%. Now Microsoft Cloud, Azure, is around 22%, and Google Cloud is becoming more profitable. So this is something else that's being overshadowed. Another thing that's being overshadowed, and not a lot of people are talking about this, and it's mainly Waymo, which is their autonomous vehicle kind of business. And it's been operating for a while. Tesla is still talking about theirs, and Waymo have been active, I believe, for a year, and they have 150,000 paid riders per week. So it's been going very well for them. And they have a partnership with Uber to start expanding in Austin and Atlanta, Georgia. And it's an amazing piece of the business that not a lot of people are talking about. And this is an article from Barron's, which is a very credible kind of newsletter, or a credible website, you could say. It's a paid website. And this is what they came out in terms of the value of Google if they sum it up in different pieces. So Google search alone, for them, they believe it's worth $143. Now Google right now is trading at $161. They believe the search engine alone is worth $143. They believe YouTube alone is worth $65. Cloud is 26, and Waymo is 26. Now, I believe it's a little bit ridiculous to put in Waymo at the same valuation as Google Cloud. I think, it's a little bit, it's not too good. It's not good together. I think, Cloud is worth much more than Waymo, but a lot of excitement is happening around EVs and autonomous vehicles, and you do have this exposure with Google, and I wouldn't be surprised if Google in the future eventually spins off Waymo and creates massive value for shareholders, especially if we're in the right market at the right place at the right time. But with everything I showed you, Google is still trading at 19 times earnings. It's insane. This is the lowest it has traded at in a while. The lowest ever was around 16.7 times. It traded as high as 34 times earnings. The mean was 23 times, and now you're buying it at 19 times earnings. And if, for example, something like Barron's is right, Google search alone with YouTube, you're still buying it below this level. It's like you're getting Waymo and Cloud for free, and it's absolutely insane. So the way I look at it, I look at Google at 19 times earnings that's been growing and is expected to continue growing, earnings per share 11, 14, or 14, 15% on average. And there's so many ways to unlock value, maybe through Chrome being spinned off, maybe through Waymo in the future being spinned off, or maybe Google Cloud in the future being spinned off, with them doing buybacks, doing dividends, having good balance sheet. I believe Google right now is extremely undervalued. It's really undervalued, and it's one of the best buying opportunities in the market, especially amongst the big seven. So I believe Google right here is a buy. I think the DOJ stuff is massively overblown, and once we're over with the DOJ stuff, then the DOJ and everyone else can no longer call Google a monopoly, because they pretty much killed the company. They killed the stock. They did whatever they wanted to do. They're splitting things apart. So what's next? The only drama I can think of is ChatGPT taking over Google. Maybe we're going to have this story again in a few months and Google's going to crash. But this will be it. Like, we will be done with all the drama stuff, all the reasons why Google shouldn't be going higher. And then I believe they could start pulling off something like Microsoft, maybe something like Nvidia, where it just goes up in a sustainable long-term pattern instead of all the stuff that happens with Google. So I like the company very much. I think the stock is a buy, and this is my opinion on it, not financial advice. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please press the like button and maybe consider subscribing. So I'll talk to you in another video.